Well, hello, my beautiful peeps. I'm Bullhorn Betty, and we are on the crime stories side. The Bullhorn Betty crime stories. We are rolling with StreamYard on this channel. It just makes it easier. We don't have a lot. I'll go through OBS for the other one. For this one, we're just going over a bunch of different cases. And the caseload today is going to be Mimi. Well, we've got uh, Jennifer Kesse. This is the one that is from Orlando. It's a 20-plus-year-old case, and it looks like there's some movement on it. Then we'll be getting on to Mimi. She's the 12-year-old girl that was found in a container at an abandoned property a year after she was deceased. Kada Scott, and then, of course, Ellen Greenberg. The reason why I kind of commingled Kada Scott and Ellen Greenberg together is because they're from Pennsylvania, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and DA Krasner, Larry Krasner, is the one having that's been kind of overseeing both of these cases. And based on his handling of Keon King, I'm not sure he's the best person for the job. And there's actually somebody else that's stepping up to the plate that says they're going to give Ellen Greenberg a fighting chance to have her case truly solved, and that is Pat Dugan. Pat Dugan. And so we're making a push for Pat Dugan to obviously be elected as DA and to push Larry Krasner out for the purposes of getting real justice for Ellen Greenberg. But to kick off this afternoon show, we're going to be starting off with Jennifer from Orlando. But before that, I got a ridiculously generous gift at my door today. I have a funny feeling I know who it is. I want to see if that person might be in the chat at this moment. I have not seen her face yet. I have not seen her yet. I might have to wait. Because I believe this is Betty fans doing. It's I can't be 100%. It smells like Betty fan. I can't be 100% accurate that it is Betty fan. But I will have to wait until Betty fan gets into chat before I can open this up. Maybe I should text her and see if this is from her. Hold on a second. Let me see. Since we don't have her, I figured she'd be in here doing that thing. If it's sweets, it's usually Betty. I'm kind of thinking it's Betty. You know me. I could sniff it out. Let's see if I got a little wink wink. Did I get a little wink wink from her? Oops, I'm on the wrong one. Hold on, how do I move over to the different one? Up here? No. Uh-oh. Have to go here? Oh, okay, there I am. That's how you do it. Let's see if I got a wink wink somewhere. A wink wink here and a wink wink there. Wink wink everywhere. Everywhere a wink wink. Everywhere a wink wink. No, I don't see a little winky wink. Oh, I have missed a lot of message. Well, one's from the 17th. It's been a while. Let me go over to the other place to see if she messaged me there. I do not see any additional messages. Okay, so I'm going to do this without Betty fan in the chat. Betty fan will get here, and we will have to tell her thank you again, because I'm telling you, I feel like this is I feel like Betty is all over this. I just do. I feel like Betty is all over this. So, hi, Panda Bear's mom, Melanie. It's nice to see you. Pebbles, did you guys hear anything from her? I know she usually keeps this stuff secret until she's here and she's like, it was me. Right? What do we got? Let's see what we got here. No card message. Yep, it's really smelling like Betty. It's gotta be because she knows how much I love this. Oh, it's got to be Betty. It's got to be Betty. She got my cherry butter. She got my cherry butter. Remember when she got me the cherry butter? Oh, I'm sorry, Delilah. I'm not trying to scare you. You can play with that if you want. She got me this package, and in this package was cherry butter. I had never had cherry butter in my life. What? This is not for you. Quit licking your lips. Miss Nosy Pants over here. And so it was from Wolferman's Bakery, and I said, oh my gosh, this stuff is the best stuff ever. This stuff is the best stuff ever. It was absolutely my favorite. I never got another jar of it. I ate every stinking bit of this cherry butter. This cherry butter is so freaking good, and it's from Wolferman's Bakery. And this is definitely Betty fan, because she's the one that got it to me the first time. And I didn't know what cherry butter was. And I'm like, cherry butter? I'm like, what the flip is cherry butter, right? I mean, I do apple butter, but I'm not like an apple butter fan, you know? I don't really, I'm like, I would do apple jam over apple butter, you know? And so I'm like, cherry butter. And then I tried it, and I'm like, oh my gosh. I remember my mom came over, and I'm like, Mom, you got to try this stuff. You got to try this stuff. This is definitely, I have found the culprit. It's definitely Betty fan. I know it is. I know it is. At this point, I'm almost confident. Thank you, Betty. I know it's you, but there's another box here too, guys. It didn't just stop at the cherry butter. I never heard of cherry butter either, Brenda. I never heard of it either. But then when I tried it, what? Do you think this box is for you too? I gave you a treat already. She's so excited. She's like, Mommy, what do I have? Mommy, what do I have? Little greedy shit. Delilah's pawing at my side. She's like, what do I got? What do I got, Mom? What do I got? Oh, good gracious. I wish Betty was here. Betty's going to have to get this on the replay crew. Don't forget to remind. Oh, this is definitely Betty fan. We've got Halloween bagels. It is Halloweeny bagel. I bet you these are pumpkin bagels or something. Let's see. I don't think I can use my cherry butter on these. It's not for good. Come here, Delilah. Come here. You're just so excited. Come here. Good gracious. We just got some. Look what we got. Okay, hold on. I'm gonna show you. There you go. Just sniffy sniff. Is that okay? Does it pass the sniffy test? Okay, let's get this one. This is the one you were jumping on. Sniffy test. Oh, that's right. You love cherries. I don't know if you're supposed to have cherries, but I know you love cherries. Does it pass? Does it pass the sniff test? Does it pass the smell test? All right, Miss Excitement. There you go. That's all there is. Look at that, black and orange bagels. Who would have ever thought about black and orange bagels? This is definitely Betty fan, and there she is. I see Betty. I know this is your handiwork. This has to be your handiwork. And you know what gave it away? Well, first of all, when I saw the box, I don't know what it is about the box. I'm like, this has to be Betty. And then I was here, and I was waiting for you. And I'm like, this has to be Betty. But it wasn't. The first box I opened was the cherry butter. And I'm like, this is definitely Betty. There's no if, ands, or buts about it. This is Betty. So we got Betty, the cherry butter. Oh, golly. I could just take the spoon and eat it. And then of course Delilah's in here wanting to be all nosy. She's such a nosy she's just like her mama. Good gracious, the fruit don't fall too far from this tree. Just doesn't. But I'm gonna definitely get one of these bagels. I'm probably gonna do it right after we get off of here. So anyways, you made my Halloweeny. You made my Halloweeny. That's probably improper, and we're probably gonna be made fun of, but that's okay. That's okay. We'll deal with it. Thank you so much. That was very thoughtful. I absolutely do appreciate it. Do appreciate it. All right, guys. So, without further ado, we do have some cases to get to. So, this case that we're going to be talking about. Oh, by the way, thank you all for being here. Let me just go by and say hello. Me and you, I didn't see you this morning. Where were you? I'm taking notes. I'm checking it twice. Remember, Christmas is coming up, and I'm trying to find out who's naughty or nice. No, I'm just joking. I'm just joking. I don't know if you guys can hear that through the system because we're on StreamYard, and I always have wonky crap happen to me on StreamYard. So, I mean, not that I haven't had wonky crap happen to me on OBS, but you know what? On OBS, it's a little easier to palate, because it's free. I don't pay a monthly subscription for OBS. It's a pain in the butt to run, but I don't pay a monthly subscription fee for it. On StreamYard, when I was on StreamYard, I was paying like $50 a month, $50 to $80, which they caught me a couple times for the $80 plan because they kept switching it on me and I didn't catch it. But and then you have the wonky crap. Then you have the, video not looking stellar. I mean, whenever I'm like right now, if it's not looking stellar, I could care less. Why? Because I'm on the free plan of StreamYard, right? Anyways, it's nice to see you all. Melanie, good evening, or good afternoon. Denise, Pebbles, our beautiful Pebbles is up in the house. Panda Bear's mom, it's nice to see you. Good afternoon. Deanna, Kathleen, Eeyore Blues, JH up in the house. Hola, Seclusion, it's nice to see you. Brenda, good afternoon. West Virginia, holla girl. Holla back, y'all. Hey, mama, it's nice to see you. Who else do we have? The real me too. Good afternoon. Little orange man, it's nice to see you, love. Karen, it's nice to see ya. Karen, the other Karen, it's nice to see you, me and you. Me and you's here finally. I'm just joking. I'm just joking. Blessed happy Nana, Gigi. YouTuber, it's nice to see you. TikTok, right? Be Betty fan, it's nice to see you. Thank you for the thoughtful gift. It was nice. Unexpected, so definitely brightened my day. Absolutely. Gigi, I think I said hi. Faye, it's nice to see you. Good afternoon. Who else do we have? I think I said hi to just about everybody else. If I missed you, I am so sorry. It's nice to see everybody. This is the Crime Stories channel, and we've got a lot to break down for you. So, guys, this is the thing with Jennifer's case. If you guys know, Jennifer disappeared. She's never been found. Okay, 20 plus years, she's never been found. She was out at she had an apartment or a condo in Orlando. She was heading to work. If I recall correctly, I feel like she was in school for some reason because that's a college town. And it's 20, we're going into 2026. This happened in 2006. She was 24 at the time. And where was the apartment complex? I can't recall. I can't remember where the apartment complex. I'll read this whole thing. So if it's in here, we'll read it. But there was a man that dropped off her vehicle. Okay. Oh, thank you. Deanna became the newest member of this crazy family we call the Coffee Club, i.e., the Insane Asylum. Grab your straitjacket in your padded room and welcome aboard. It's nice to see you, and thank you for that. Jilly Bean, it's nice to see you. It's been a while. It's been a while, love. It's been a while. What? I'm not eating. Why are you staring at me? No, I'm not putting you in my lap. No, quit begging. Quit begging. Nuh-uh. Nope. No, thank you. No, thank you. Such a bossy little broad. She takes after her mama. So, long story short, is there were things that weren't tested, and so they finally tested the stuff, and there was DNA, different DNA than anything that they have found. So they have a short list of suspects. This has been a cold case for 20 years, okay? And I think over 20 years. I can't remember when all this happened, what month it was. But I feel like it well, I guess not. If we're in 2025, it's 2026, so it's probably more on the lines of 19 to 20 years old. But long story short is this has perplexed a lot of people, okay? She had went on this vacation with her boyfriend and they had just gotten back, and this happened. So I don't know if she was dating somebody previously. There are some things like I'm still jilted over the crap that happened to me, almost 3 years ago. So I have to, think about it. I'm not homicidal, obviously, but I have to think that, some people's emotions, even as time goes on, things that happened, especially if you're, say, on a social media profile or something, and you see your significant other, out there with another person enjoying their life, living their life, right? Hey, Faye, Jewel, it's nice to see you. I hope you're doing well. Oh, but she's yeah, such a sweetie. She is. She is. She's a pain in my butt. I love her to death. Have to cancel due to military pay for my husband. Oh, that's okay, honey. Do what you can when you can. We are, trust me, we're the dollar will do campaign channel. Right? All right. Most of our projects have been funded $1 at a time, literally. Yeah, so no worries. Prayers for you. Prayers for you. I hope stuff improves around our country. I really do. I can tell you I'm pushing for improvements, but it seems like other people are pushing for leverage and pain. So it is just is what it is. But long story short is Jennifer went on this vacation. She came back. It sounds like they had the time of their life. And she was getting up, if I remember correctly, this was like a Monday morning. She was getting up to head to work, and she leaves her house and she never makes it to work. Boom, boom, boom. That's it. Her car is found. They go and look at video surveillance, and it's like the person. You see the chain. You see the right behind here. I don't know if you guys can see this. You probably can't see it. Let me pull this up on a big screen. There you go. So can you guys see my? Let me put my cursor. Now you guys can see it. See this guy right here? See this? This is the person that was driving her car. This is we've got surveillance. We see this person, right? But nobody knows who it is. Allegedly, this doesn't look like her boyfriend. So I'm pretty sure that he's eliminated as a possibility as the guy that she went on that weekend excursion with. I think he can be eliminated because this person seems like they have a very specific cut, almost a bowl cut, if you will. I can see that they have black tennis shoes on or a black shoe. It seems like their pants, in all fairness, are pulled up pretty high. It seems like whoever this is has long legs. Were they wearing something to alter their appearance? I don't know. It seemed like right when the camera caught them, their face was obscured by the metal fence. So this is what we're learning, but this is the great news is this is coming off the cold case, folks. This is no longer cold. I think for the first time in the history of this case, we truly believe that it could very well be solved. And the way that I'm hearing, because you know how like when you read articles and stuff, how you get kind of a sense of what law enforcement is saying. Studied this case in crime scene analysis. Oh, very good. Very good. So this should be pretty interesting for you. Um, what I find really cool about this particular update is I feel hopeful. For the first time, I truly feel hopeful. I feel like she's going to be solved. She's truly going to be solved. So the story of Jennifer Kesse, and I think that's how you it's either Kess or Kesse, and I think it's Kesse case, and I think that is right, Kesse. Jennifer Kesse case awakens after 20 years. Now, her family lives here in my county, which is Manatee County. So, on corners, we've seen her flyer. They have a huge banner right there on Manatee Avenue and 75th Street, which is where my stomping grounds were growing up. And they had a huge banner there for literally ever since she's been missing, just about. I've seen it there. I think it's been taken down since then. We've had new leadership in this county. Hopefully, they allowed it to stay. But I remember it wasn't just but a few short years ago that I was driving by and you saw the banner still there. So her family, her mom and dad lives in my community, and they've been fighting for answers in their daughter's case. Not only do they not have answers, her body has never been found, and they are convinced she's deceased. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about whether she's alive or deceased. They do believe she is deceased. I don't know if they've moved to have her classified as deceased, but it seems like everybody's on the same mindset. She hasn't been seen for 20 years. 20 years ago, we weren't really as big in social media as we are today. So her being off social media wouldn't be anything anybody, because people just didn't use it the way we use it today. So new DNA evidence emerges, igniting the final ray of hope for her family and everyone who has followed this case for nearly 2 decades. Nearly 20 years after Jennifer Kesse vanished without a trace at the age of 24, her family has finally received the news they've waited for half of a lifetime to hear. Investigators with the FDLE have discovered new DNA evidence from items that have never been tested before, and the case is no longer considered a cold case. This is huge. These new findings have allowed detectives to narrow down the list of suspects to just a few individuals, opening a real path forward after years of dead ends. Jennifer's parents say this is say that this time everything feels different. No longer vague promises or empty leads, but tangible evidence that could finally point to the person responsible. Although no arrests have been made and no names have been released, the discovery of new DNA is being viewed as the most significant breakthrough in nearly 2 decades, restoring faith that the truth may finally be within reach. In 2006, Jennifer disappeared just moments after leaving her condo to head to work. 2 days later, her car was found abandoned, and surveillance footage captured an unidentified man walking away after parking it, his face eerily hidden behind a gate post at the exact moment the camera snapped him. That blurred silhouette haunted America for years as Jennifer seemed to vanish from the world in an instant, leaving her family trapped in endless grief and unanswered questions. Now, after all these years of waiting, the Kesse family wants only one thing: the truth, even if it's the truth that breaks their heart. Though no suspects has been named, the emergence of new DNA evidence marks the strongest turning point in a long, painful journey. The family is urging the public to keep sharing Jennifer's story so her case is never forgotten. Because only when the world continues to remember her does justice still have a chance to speak. So there we have it, guys. Jennifer, it sounds like with this promising new lead, the fact that law enforcement is now officially saying that this case is no longer cold, This is very promising, more promising than we have ever heard in probably 20 years. And so we're very thankful for this turn of events. And to the Kesse family, God bless your journey. We've been with you guys literally from the beginning. I can tell you that this has been in my county since the day it happened, because my county is your county. My home is your home. And I pray that this small list of people become a reality in injustice for Jennifer. Let me just read some of your comments before we move on. What is this, me and you? Hold on, let me go up here and read your statement. I missed something. Betty, I have new information. Sebastian's case. It's good. I'm going to email you. Oh, that'd be wonderful. Yes, please email. bullhornbetty@gmail.com. I'm writing a note here, so don't forget to check my emails. Let me know when you send it, and I'll read it. Cause we got a long show. Well, not too long. Well, I guess it is. I think that's my lunch. Give me just a second. Y'all, I was trying to grab a fork quickly because my neighbor just brought me some lunch, and I ended up grabbing like the pitchfork of the knives. Can you guys see this thing? Can't burn it. These damn things. Look at this. Look at that. Look how big that's a big fork. That's a big fork. Sorry, it was my neighbor. He brought me over some beef noodle stuff. Okay, guys, let me get back over here. So what was I saying? Oh yeah, me and you send me an email when you let me know what it's in there, and I'll review it. We do have kind of a long show, but not. I'm very happy to hear about the Kesse family. This sounds really, really, really promising. I have 18 family members coming for Thanksgiving. Oh my goodness, that's a lot of people. I remember having huge family meals. We used to do them here. My poor little toilet. I had one bathroom in this house and like 20 people here, and it never worked out well. Like it was always, because I feel like everybody on the street, we have old plumbing here because this is an old community, and I feel like even with the lift station, it doesn't pump the stuff like it's supposed to. And around the holidays, especially Thanksgiving, things start getting backed up. Like the toilet stops flushing. And it's like, where does it come? Why are we having problems? And I realize that it's not nothing to do with my pipes. It has to do with the county. It all goes very, very slow, apparently. No, she is. What is it? No, she is unfound. Who are we talking about? I will never forget seeing the case details for Jennifer. Oh yeah. She hasn't been found. This is what makes me. I've always thought, because naturally one of the first things that we think of in true crime, at least now this day and age, is um the significant other or a significant other. But for this one, it just I don't know. I feel like it could be somebody like a maintenance guy from one of the condos around, Orlando, or a resident that was there in Orlando, something like that. I'm not sure, but it's something. It's something. I feel like it's something like that because I feel like if it was the boyfriend or the fiance or whatever he was to her, I feel like that would have been kind of implied early on. But I'm pretty sure he has a rock. Sorry. Sorry. A rock solid alibi, if I had to guess, but I don't know. I don't know. So, guys, we learned that there was a little girl. We didn't hear, I think I even said it. Like, why are we just now hearing about this missing child? Because I was doing some research and all of a sudden I'm reading articles about a 12-year-old girl in a barrel on an abandoned property. And I remember thinking, like, why didn't we hear about an abandoned 12-year-old or, a missing 12-year-old girl? We never heard about the 12-year-old. Why are we just now hearing about this? I remember that when we were going over this case, I remember those being my exact words. Like, why are we just now learning of this case? And it was the Jacqueline Mimi Torres-Garcia case. And this is a case of a 12-year-old girl that somebody found in like a barrel or some type of container on an abandoned property and called it in. And that's when this case became reality for us. And then we come to find out that the mom, her boyfriend, and her sister have been arrested for this murder of their daughter, of her daughter, Jacqueline's niece and Jonathan's girlfriend's daughter. And what has come after that? And what we realized this young girl went through is horrific, and I can't really discuss it. I'm gonna have to find a way to present the case to the audience here, or I'm gonna have to remove advertisement. Maybe we will have a frank conversation on the Mimi Torres Garcia case, and I'll do it without advertisement on it because, excuse me, with the hiccups. That's really going to be the only way that we can really have a frank conversation about it without it being hindered or anything like that. Then YouTube can put whatever designation it needs to put on it and whatever. But at the end of the day, this young 12-year-old went through a lot of horrific stuff. The stuff that we're hearing, I don't understand. Like, when people do these actions, do they ever just stop and think this isn't normal? Like, I mean, I'd have to think when you're putting like restraints on a child or a person, let's just say a person, right? When you're putting restraints, do you not realize that's not normal? Like, people don't put restraints on people, okay? Unless you kind of into things like that, okay? And those are done in different types of environments, but definitely not for children, okay? And definitely not to be done against the will of a person. So when you're doing those things, you have to stop, and you would think that these people would stop and think, that's not normal. That's not normal. I don't think they do. I don't either. I mean, I guess not. But you would think that if they treat other children differently, like they had other children in the house, but they did this to this particular girl that happened not to be with the same father as the other ones. I mean, why would anybody hurt? Like, you know what? That's a conversation in and of itself. We'll pass. We will bypass that because I don't understand. I don't understand how anybody can hurt a child. Whether you hate their father or not, how can, not only that, but if you truly hated the father so much that you are willing to hurt your child, you would think that you would just give the child up. You just say, I can't take it. Just give them to the Department of Children and Family Services and just say, sink or swim. You would think that they would do something like that as opposed to hurting them. But these people hurt this young girl. Anyways, so what we have here is Law and Crime was able to pick up the body cam footage. And this was from like December of this year, or excuse me, of 2024 rather. Hold on, let me go back here. Let me read the description of this so you guys have it. So this is cops talk to a killer mom as daughter, body is hides in the house. So this is the first time newly released body cam footage that shows an officer at the door of Karla Garcia's apartment months after investigators say her 12-year-old daughter, Jacqueline Mimi Torres, was already dead inside. The chilling video, along with newly unsealed arrest warrants, exposed disturbing details about so they knew that this child was missing almost a year. Like, this is from December 2020. We just learned about this case just about a month and a half ago. And I remember one of the things that upset me so badly about the case is that we were just hearing about the case. We had not heard about the case very much. And not only that, when I was trying to do the research on the case, there wasn't a whole lot of articles in that local area, anything about Mimi or Jacqueline, Torres-Garcia missing. You had nothing like that. And now we're finding out that law enforcement was there December 2024, potentially looking for this girl, and this girl's already deceased inside this home. It's so upsetting for me, because we would never have been able to save this poor girl, because it sounds like whenever she went missing, she was already deceased and her family had, was responsible for it. But it just upsets you that the local media and the mainstream media couldn't get this out any further, so the true crime community could really help this case. And I think that's really what upsets me about this. So without further ado, let me just go ahead and get this popped up here so we can watch it.
For the first time, you're seeing police body camera footage from the night officers showed up at mom Karla Garcia's apartment, responding to a noise complaint, unaware that her daughter, 12-year-old Jacqueline Mimi Torres-Garcia, was likely already dead inside that very home. Her body would later be found months later, sealed inside a plastic tote behind an abandoned home. Now, Jacqueline's mom, aunt, and her mom's ex-boyfriend are accused of a crime so disturbing it's hard to comprehend. And this newly released footage, along with unsealed arrest warrants, could change everything we thought we knew about this investigation. We're on the case, presented by Law and Crime. I'm Chris Stewart.
Now he's talking about, what they're accused of, or that it might be different than what it is. I don't think it is, because it is my understanding that it's Jonathan. Jonathan is the violent guy. Jonathan is the one that loses his stuff. Jonathan is the one, my understanding, from what I'm understanding, is the one that hurt this child. And it was the mother that covered it up. One of those types of situations. And Sebastian Rogers is kind of the opposite. We believe the mom did something and the step-parent helped cover it up. In this situation, it sounds like it was the step-parent, that Jonathan, it was him that hurt this child. And it was the mom and the aunt that helped cover it up. But also, they were part of the abuse, restraints, everything. You name it, they did it. Sad stuff. We're not going to watch all of this. We're just going to get past... let me get to the actual... Where is it? Hold on. They get to the actual body cam. I think it's down further. Okay, they're only going to show, I guess, the body cam footage at the very beginning. All right, so let's just get through this so we can watch what we have.
Or he couldn't get any. This young girl found earlier this month inside a tote, ditched behind an abandoned home in New Britain, Connecticut. And the new details we're getting, I'll warn you, they're worse than even we could have imagined. According to newly unsealed arrest warrants just obtained by Law and Crime, police say 12-year-old Jacqueline was starved, zip-tied as punishment, and left to die inside her family's home in Farmington, Connecticut. Allegedly, it was at the hands of her mom's boyfriend, and her aunt. Jacqueline's body was then allegedly hidden for months in the basement of the home. The smell was so bad, investigators say the adults started staying in hotels before Jacqueline's body was moved in a storage bin lined with trash bags, sheets, and even a white powder to mask the odor. Neighbors told police they often heard arguing, screams, and banging coming from the apartment, even calling 911 on more than one occasion. One neighbor said they heard a woman threaten to, quote, break someone's neck. Another.
And I don't understand how, if the neighbors saw this, smelt this, and stuff like that, how law enforcement wouldn't know. Because I'm going to tell you right now, the scent of decomp is very, very noticeable. It's very, 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 very specific. So if you've smelt it before, it's something that you will always remember what it smells like. So I don't understand how this was hard for law enforcement, unless this was after a fact or before a fact. But it sounds like this was a very volatile family, and it sounds like it they should have looked a little further under the hood. Just my opinion.
Arguing, screams, and banging coming from the apartment, even calling 911 on more than one occasion. One neighbor said they heard a woman threaten to, quote, break someone's neck. Another reported a scream, something heavy falling, and Carla yelling, stop. And now we're seeing what happened in one instance when officers actually showed up. Farmington police have released body camera footage from December 29th, 2024, just months after investigators believe that Jacqueline was killed.
Hi, how are you?
Good.
Is everything okay?
Yeah.
We got a call. There's a lot of noise coming.
I just realized it's Christmas and or Christmas time. It's just 4 days after Christmas. And I just noticed all these houses out here, wherever they're living, none of them have Christmas lights on. So this must be a rough area, in my opinion, that doesn't have a whole lot of money. Because even some poor families I've seen always put something up for Christmas. I see nothing. I see nothing on any of the houses, even the house kind of, through this area over here, right over here. Like I don't see any anything. I don't see anything.
From your apartment?
They're always calling.
Okay.
Everything's good though.
Everyone's all right?
Yes.
Is everyone else home with you?
Just the babies and my boyfriend.
Okay. Is your boyfriend here?
Yeah.
Can I speak with him?
Yeah.
I just can't believe how straight-faced she is, knowing she's got a deceased child. Everything's cool, everything's good. She seems like I heard that she was a mental basket case. She doesn't seem too mental here. She seems she understood exactly what this man was saying.
Babe! Babe!
And this is months after. And this officer can't smell the smell of decomp? I mean, if this was months after this child, I mean, I don't know. It had to have been pretty putrid. That's what I'm saying.
They just want to make sure everything's okay.
You okay?
Yeah, I'm just pregnant. Just moods,
Oh, pregnant
The
again.
officers seemed calm, even friendly, chatting with Carla and her boyfriend, Jonathan Nanita.
Yeah.
So, she's pregnant with another child. Dead child in the basement. And another child procreating in her belly. This is insane.
It's my wife's pregnant, so she just be having mood swings. And
Okay.
I be trying to calm her down.
Okay. Things happen.
I'm at the gym, so
Okay.
it's difficult.
All right. Well, I haven't met you guys just quick. I'm just going to write your names down, say I spoke with you, and get out of here, okay?
Okay.
Police left that night, wishing them a Merry Christmas, never realizing the 12-year-old girl who once lived there was reportedly already gone. In putting this story together, I put Carla Garcia's name.
That's literally. I mean, I'm still just kind of feeling all types of ways, with this whole situation of officers being in that house, her being pregnant, her acting like nothing's wrong, and she's got a deceased child down in the. I don't know.
Police say 12-year-old Jacqueline Mimi Torres-Garcia did live a quiet, ordinary life in New Britain. Then one day, she was just gone. No missing poster, no Amber Alert, just silence.
And I don't understand why nobody knew. How did nobody know anything? We got this lady in California that everybody's trying to say this child wasn't seen for 2 years. Come to find out, the child was just seen a week prior to. We still can't figure out why we have such a national thing over a mom taking a child out of the county or the state. It just seems ridiculous, especially when she was the sole person, and the person that has sole custody of this child, having to ask permission from agents of California to take her child out of the state. Like, I got problems with some of this stuff. And then you got a situation like this where this woman just can't stay from being pregnant. You got fights going on, people talking about hurting people and synths that have to be in this house, and a child that I don't know. It's just, this is insane.
It was August 26th, 2024, when Garcia suddenly withdrew her daughter from school, telling staff that Jacqueline was going to be homeschooled, and no one outside that home would ever see Jacqueline alive again.
And why did they make this mother come there and show that child like they did for Ashley Buzzard before she was able to go into homeschooling? They didn't do that for this child. She just was ripped out of the class. Nobody ever saw this child again, and nobody asked any questions. Nobody asked any questions.
Months later, on October 8th, 2025, an anonymous 911 call changed everything. It was a tip about...
Look at that beautiful face. She deserved so much better. And think about all the other kids that woman had. She was pregnant with one right then and there. I wonder how abused that child was in her womb.
Suspicious activity behind an abandoned home on East Street in New Britain. It led police to a tote sealed shut. And inside that tote were the remains of 12-year-old Jacqueline Torres-Garcia. At that moment, the mystery of the missing girl that no one knew was missing became a murder investigation. Within days, police arrested
the child that nobody knew was missing. How many more cases of that are we going to have? How can we not figure this out? We've got systems in place. How in the world can our government track every single dollar you and I spend, but they can't track our children? Right? They can do all these things. They can find freaking Bin Laden in a tiny little mountainside and get him, but they don't know where our children are in this country. I find that insulting. I find that insulting. I find that insulting to parents. I find that insulting to the taxpayers. I find it insulting. I find it, maybe another word, lazy. I don't know what words I want to really use here, but bullshit comes to mind. That does.
Warning, bullshit alert.
How does nobody know a child is missing? This is outrageous, but it keeps happening over and over again. We already know that there's another child right now. We don't know her name. We don't know his name. But we know as we sit here right now covering this show that there is another child out there that is missing, that we don't know that is missing, that is deceased at the hands of the people that were supposed to protect them. And we're just waiting to find them. Folks, it's time for you. We're coming up to Christmas and the holidays. It's time for you to start reaching out to those disgruntled relationships and relatives and start making way to go see those children that you've been pushed out of their lives. Why? Because let's face it, abuse happens in the dark. Abuse happens when you are isolated, right? When a child or a person becomes isolated, they're most likely going to be abused. Why? Why would they be isolated if they're not being abused? Most people are outgoing and energetic until they're abused, until they have PTSD, until they have some type of experience that scares them, that keeps them in. So in this situation, you had a woman that had repeated uh, law enforcement come to her house with kids. Yet none of those law enforcement thought it was necessary to refer their trip to the Department of Children and Family Services, something on the lines, we've been to this house, 3 different times. There's been no arrest and we couldn't find anything wrong at those times, but clearly something's going on because we've been there 3 times in the last month or in the last 6 months. And this is highly unusual because they've lived here for 2 years and we've never been here before. Something's going on inside this home. We need somebody to do a little more further inspection. Where are those referrals from law enforcement? You know what? If something like that had happened in Summer Wells' case, I believe Summer Wells would still be here with us. Law enforcement was out there at the property with Don and Candace so many times while they were pissed drunk, beating the shit out of each other, and not one of those officers ever thought to refer that over to the Department of Children and Family Services to make sure that the children were okay. Not one. Not one officer. Even though those children were part of the Department of Children and Family Services and were inside the system. And as a matter of fact, the Department of Children and Family Services were out there the night before she disappeared and still did not take those children, despite how gross, disgusting, nasty, and how neglectful and how many environmental hazards were out there on that property. They still kept those kids there until Summer disappeared. I don't understand how we can have a Department of Children and Family Services really fail nationwide. Every single state is responsible for their own child and family services and helping fund those child and family services, yet from state to state, it's still the same problem. So that tells me it's the training inside of the Department of Children and Family Services. And it comes down to the fact that this is the only department that can hide the truth from the public under confidentiality of the children. We don't even know what's going on in the Department of Children and Family Services. And if we look, we're shut down. That's got to change. That's got to change big time. Because there is a major failure going on. And for me to hear not only that, but then we have our teenage on the flip side, we have some Department of Children and Family Services case managers pimping out our children, our teenage children. And don't say that this is in my head, because I know for a fact we covered claims on this show coming out of Texas and other states where they did just that. And the case manager was ultimately arrested. But our kids are being failed and then pimped out by the Department of Children and Family Services. And I say there's got to be some changes here. And this idea that we're just going to keep saying, oh, there's confidentiality, the public can't come in. Trust me, there's only going to be so much more of that we're going to put up with before we kick the door in on the Department of Children and Family Services and say, you know what, we're going to have a citizen panel that's going to oversee in every state all of these cases. And that's what we're going to end up ultimately doing, because I don't trust these. We need to turn these children's names into numbers, into case numbers, so I can go up there and do a cursory review over these cases without having any knowledge of who I'm reviewing, what child this is, but then I can actually look at the file and see whether something is being followed to the T or not. Because it's my belief that there is a lot of people that should be held accountable for their bad practices and not following policy and procedures. But we're never going to be able to hold them accountable because we're pushed out of the process while they take our money. Well, we're going to only be able to put up with that kind of system, that dynamic, for so long before serious changes need to be made. These are the faces of monsters. All 3 of these people here deserve life imprisonment. I think the man and the mom deserve DP. The aunt, life imprisonment. She had a duty. She failed. All right, guys, we're getting close to the time when we need to kind of move on here. I didn't want this to be a 2-hour program. It looks like it's going to be about a 2-hour program. We're going to get on to Kada Scott. We did hear from Keon King's attorney in the backlash. I do want to say a few things here. First and foremost, it is the position of this channel, and it will always be the position of this channel for our defendants to have the absolute best defense they can possibly have. I think that if you believe in justice, you believe that a defendant has a right to a fair trial and a defense. And I find it I understand that in cases there are emotions and there are people that step up to the plate because they believe in justice. They believe in our court systems and they believe much like I do, right? This is our system. It's not perfect, but it's what we have and it works. It's what we have and it works. So when I hear a well-to-do attorney stepping up to the plate, I can't think of anything better. Okay? And there's a lot of reasons why I say that. I say that because in the long run, having a pit bull for a defense attorney limits the amount of appeals that defendant will have in the future. One of the things we don't want to have when we go to court is somebody being found guilty in a court of law, right? Found guilty in a court of law, and then being able to go to an appellate court and getting that overturned. That would be horrible, right? So, for example, if Keon King had an unfair trial or something happened because he had not a very good attorney, and another attorney steps up to the plate, reviews the case, and says, hey, you didn't really have effective counsel. Maybe we should try to get you a new trial. And then they appeal. And then that appeal goes before courts, right? And then even those go even further than that. It goes up to the appellate court, the state Supreme Court of Appeals, then the U.S. Supreme Court of Appeals, right? So, there's stages that you can go through to be heard. But the bottom line is there's nothing worse than knowing you have your guy going into court, having something go wrong. Like look at Alec Murdaugh, slam dunk case. He was found guilty of killing his wife and his son, and then you have a bonehead clerk, Becky Hill, fluff the stuff behind the scenes and make a way that he could potentially have a new trial for the murder of his wife and son because of some stupid shit she did. Those are the kinds of things that I don't think is fair for victims' families. So, in the fairness of this, I think that people need to have the pit bull. But in this case, Keon King got somebody that is a pit bull. And now the community is rallying against this guy and wanting him to not represent Keon King. And my question to that community is why? Why wouldn't you want this guy representing him? Why? If he's the best, Keon King needs the best. Okay? Because they're going to have the proof to prove this guy is guilty of sin. And by giving him the best attorney, you have just limited your ability or his ability to appeal it. That means when he goes into court and they find him guilty, it's going to be very hard for him to appeal that. That means you're not going to have to worry about in the future that case being overturned or them having a new trial or another bite at the apple. That is absolutely the worst case scenario for the victim's family. Absolutely the worst case scenario. And I have to think that Kada Scott's family would not want to go through a second trial. They would want to go through the first trial, get it done, get him convicted, get him behind bars, and start being able to figure out what they're going to do to honor their daughter. That's kind of where I see this going, right? So again, Keon King, I can't remember the guy's name. I know it's I thought thought I wrote it down here somewhere. It's a real interesting name. Did I write it on my pad inside in next to the? I bet you I wrote it on the side next to what is his name? It's gonna drive me crazy. I remember it's a weird name. It's a weird name. Shaka. That's it. Shaka Johnson. That's it. I knew it was a weird name. And they're trying to petition him not to take this case, and he's taking it. And kudos to him for doing that and standing up, because I agree with him. This man needs this. And trust me, I do not. If anybody, I know there might be some new people here because of the Kada Scott case. If you know anything about me, I do not like criminals. Okay, I'm anti-criminal. I'm lock their asses up and throw away the key type of person. Okay, I'm all about DP. I'm all about we don't live with animals. If you become an animal, I want you extinguished. I want you out of here so you can never hurt another person again type of person. Okay, I say this because I truly believe it. I believe when people are in trouble, they should get the best defense, because let's face it, the prosecution's coming with the best. So if the prosecution's coming with the best, the defense needs to be there. And you want to do that because the last thing a family needs, the very last thing a family needs is to get the bad guy behind bars and then say something wasn't done right, something wasn't followed right, and they may let him go. How is that justice for the family? How is that justice for the family, folks? It's not. We don't want him out. Shaka Johnson, do your thing. That's how I believe. Do your thing.
Scott is asking for attorney Shaka Johnson to withdraw from representing Keon King.
And you know that name because the 21-year-old faces numerous charges in the death of Kada Scott, including murder, kidnapping, conspiracy, abuse of corpse, and tampering with evidence.
In a Change.org petition, the Scott family says in part, quote, Philadelphia attorney Shaka Johnson has chosen to represent Keon King in this deeply painful and high-profile case.
I understand, and again, I understand the family's feelings, but we've been doing this for a really long time, and I have to say that I know that that's how they feel, but this really, truly is the best possibility. You want him to have a pit bull. Trust me on this. Scott family, trust me on this. You want him to have a pit bull. I have all the confidence in the world that there is a lot of evidence against Keon. I absolutely believe that he is going to be eligible for the capital crime DP because of this. And I think that they have enough evidence to support it. Trust the process. I know it's got to be hard, but he needs a pit bull. You do not want a 2.0. I can promise you, Scott family, you do not want a 2.0. You think it's bad now? You think your heart's ripped out of your chest now? Go for a 2.0. It's 10 times worse. You don't want it.
While every person has the right to legal representation, this comes a point where morality must outweigh professional ambition. So with those comments, we wanted to get the comment from Shaka Johnson himself. Thank you for coming in.
Thank you.
Who approached you to take the case?
Okay. I'll tell you right off the bat, him having the sunglasses on until the cameras went off, and then him sternly taking those glasses off. That I don't like choreographed bullcrap, okay? You either come in there acting like you got some sense or you don't. I didn't like it. I'm being honest, right? So I'm being honest. I want a pit bull. I'm being honest that he seems to be choreographed, so that's already telling me that he's probably here for a purpose, but it takes money. It takes an attorney that has money and a reputation to handle a case like this. This case is going to get into the hundreds of thousands of dollars, if not millions of dollars, to defend. Okay, despite what you think, those experts and the testing that needs to be done, it's very, very expensive. Okay, and you need an attorney that has the pocketbook for that kind of case, and it sounds like he has it all, and he flaunts it. That's why he had the choreographed, the sunglasses on his face until the cameras came on. He was choreographed, but he has it like that. He worked hard for his reputation. He's a no mess with me kind of guy. and he wants that persona to come off. And it's part of in my opinion, the trial prep and the trial strategy. You want to come in there swinging.
In the first place,
His parents.
Keon King's parents.
Yes, his parents.
Now, are you the one that convinced him to turn himself in?
I walked in with him. Yes, I turned him in. And that was before he was formally charged with anything having to do with her disappearance, her kidnapping, the arson, the murder subsequently. That was before any of that.
But you were already representing him officially at that point?
On the strangulation case that you've now heard about, that they're calling the first one,
Right.
The district attorney contacted me directly. That's why these remarks are so, quite frankly, nonsensical, because
I don't trust him because he's playing word salad here. Okay, it sounds like because the case against him previously was thrown out, and I don't think he was the actual attorney for that strangulation case. He might have been. He might have been. We'll have to go back and look at that old case before it was thrown out by Larry Krasner's office. But it sounds like they were getting him for the kidnapping and called him. Now, I don't know if that's necessarily true or not. We're going to have to do some legwork on fact finding the attorney. But in all fairness, if this attorney represented him at all in the past and he was a decent attorney, they may reach out to him for help and assistance in rounding up the client. That's not uncommon or unheard of. But it sounds like his family, his mom and dad, reached out to Shaka previously. Okay, so it seems like mommy and daddy's doing. Now remember, mommy and daddy got money. Don't forget that. We talked about that when we realized that he moved from Delaware, Dover, Delaware. Was it Dover? Because I remember I thought it was Massachusetts, and I was like, oh no, it's Delaware. They moved from Delaware. I have to look at the stuff. Actually, I think I might still have it up. Let's see where they moved from. I do still have it up. Give me just a second. So he moved from Dover, Delaware. Yep, he was off of Harvest Grove Trail in Dover. But if you know anything, his mom and daddy own that home. They sold it for over $500,000. It sounds like they bought the house over in Durham, off of Durham Street, and they spent almost $500,000 or $600,000 for that house themselves. They're homeowners. Okay, these parents have money. Okay, they live a lifestyle that many of us would only love to live. Okay, I don't live in a $600,000 home. You know who lives in a $700,000 home? Chris and Katie Proudfoot. They live in a $600,000 and $700,000 home, and so does Keon King's parents. Okay, so if that tells you where we're at with these people, okay, they're good working people. And so Shaka is telling us that it was his parents that reached out to him initially. So mommy and daddy with money reached out to Shaka. Problem solved.
district attorney contacted me and said, listen, I understand you're representing Keon King on this first strangulation. No doubt there may be some other charges coming down the pipe, but would you surrender him? Consulted with my client, consulted with his parents. We decided to do that. Had no idea that this had any relationship to Kada Scott or this sort of case of this magnitude.
I can tell you, I don't believe that. Law enforcement would have absolutely, because he's saying that he didn't turn himself in on the kidnapping charge from previously. He was charged with kidnapping of Kada, remember? They reactivated his prior charges at the same time that they charged him with kidnapping of Kada. So this idea that he had no clue that she was being charged with Kada's kidnapping, but he needed to come in for the kidnapping charge, I find wholly insulting, and I find, in my opinion, untrue. I think he's playing a lot with the dates and times of his involvement and whether they truly knew this was about Kada or not. I absolutely believe I would take the strong approach or opinion that he probably was like, well, until I see evidence to show that he's being connected to Kada, we're not going to worry about this just yet. I can see him taking that approach, but not knowing that that they were looking at him for Kada, but they wanted him to bring him down and turn himself in. I find it improbable. I find it wholly improbable.
To ask you to represent it. So did they? Well, they saw the news coverage. Did they think their son did it?
No. They came to me long before they
Thank
knew their
you.
son was
I
ever involved.
appreciate
His
that.
name was even swept up in this whole case. They had no idea. No idea. They thought that their son was in very little trouble. Very little trouble.
Well, then why turn himself in?
Well,
Right.
because they're law-abiding folks. The parents are salt of the earth people. They're
This is where you can see the shyster attorney kind of come out in him a little bit.
if their son is being sought after, they want to hire an attorney. Please get to the bottom of it. See
So
why the
because he was
authorities
asked, so that's
exactly.
why they wanted to
See
comply.
why my son is being sought after and investigate. They had no idea he was associated with this. We obviously came to find that out.
Don't believe it.
And at that point, I was already his attorney.
And because of the strangulation case, why?
I don't believe it was because of the strangulation case. That means he would have been the attorney way back in April 2025. You know, that's when they charged him. What do they say? They dropped it, May, June-ish? It's when they dropped those charges, and then now he's a homicidal maniac by October. So, I mean, there's not, a whole lot here. So Shaka would have had to be, otherwise his whole timeline is going to be bullcrap. And it's going to be easy to prove whether he's playing word salad here or
Was
not.
he out?
The case was withdrawn. That strangulation.
Because the victim didn't show up in court?
Because the victim did not show up in court.
Why don't they just do it by Zoom?
He's not going to want that. He's not going to want that because he wants people front and center, eyeball to eyeball. Trust me, all the defense attorneys do. They do not want you being able to zoom in for testimony. They want you eyeball to eyeball. That's how they apply that pressure. They apply that pressure, by being in your face, by putting, yeah, they ain't going to do all that.
Well, no, you have the right. We have constitutional protections, and people have to come to court. You can't wage allegations against a person and then get on the computer. You got to come down, participate in the process.
You got to park your butt on the bench. You got to be in the hot seat.
Situations where even if the victim isn't able to come forward, that they're still able to prosecute, or is that just a different scenario?
No, it's a slightly different scenario.
Okay.
But in this particular case, she was given the opportunity to come to court twice. She didn't come to court, and so the case was withdrawn. As happens, let me be clear.
It does happen a lot. This is normal stuff. He is absolutely correct. I know what he's about to say. I've watched this already.
This is not something that is
He's right.
highly irregular.
It's not.
It'll happen probably 50 times today.
100 times.
Every day.
Every
When I say
day.
every day,
Yep.
not once or twice.
Where victims are not,
Where
what are you referring
cases
to?
are with
Case, you guys know that. You guys, we all know that. That he's not speaking something that's untrue here. We know when charges are brought up, especially domestic related charges, all the time, whether they deserve to be prosecuted or not. We know that victims just don't show up, especially the domestic ones. Especially the domestic ones. Many of you guys didn't show up to some of your domestic shit either, right? You guys were abused, you filed the reports, and you never showed up, or you blamed yourself, or you pulled a report, or you were intimidated, or a number of reasons. But you guys know that what he's saying is true. This happens literally hundreds of times a day.
Drawn or discharged, or the government voluntarily withdraws the charges because the so-called victim or the complainant is not there.
If nobody agrees to defend him as an attorney, is that when they appoint a public defender?
Well, I don't know that many people would not agree to defend him. We represent, when I say we, I'm speaking about the criminal defense bar.
The criminal defense bar. And not only that, there's no guarantee that he wouldn't have been represented by Shaka anyways, because let's face it, this is a high profile case. When a case gets to a certain degree of high profile, then you get the better prosecutors. Therefore, you have to get the better defense. And sometimes you got to go to outside counsel to get that better defense. And a lot of these attorneys, in order to have the bar license, are required to do a certain number of hours of pro bono work. That means that they have to work for free for victims such as Keon, not victims, but defendants clients. Clients is the word I'm looking for. Clients such as Keon King here, you know. And is he going to be getting paid? What's going to end up happening is he's already the attorney. He probably already knows how to defend against violent crime, and how the shistiness of Shaka is. They're typically not going to pull the case from an attorney that has the um, prerequisites, the history, the resume to handle a capital case. They'll just pay them what they would pay their, defense counsel, public defender's office, right? They would get them under contract for something like that. So even if Keon can't pay for his defense, it's on the taxpayers to pay for his defense, and we will either pay our public defender's office a contracted amount, or we're going to pay a private um uh practice attorney the contracted amount. But either way, Shaka's not really doing this for free. He's not doing it pro bono. He's most likely going to get paid what they would pay an outside counsel if they needed to bring an outside counsel in for a capital crime. They have, metrics and tables and stuff that already has this already worked out. They just agree to it. They sign the dotted lines, make a few modifications, make a few tweaks. Next thing, bada bing, bada boom, you got yourself a defense counsel. He's already in. So they're not going to rip this guy away from him and send him to a public defender, because again, that will be the possibility of him appealing later down the road. So Shaka's in. Shaka's going to stay in, even if the finance goes from his parents to us.
Represent people from all walks of life who are accused of all manner of heinous crimes. Okay, and
I remember didn't you represent a Proud Boy at one time?
Yes, I did. I represented Zachary Real, or one of the leader of the Proud Boys.
Did you have any folks from the community upset when you were representing him?
I got no emails. I got no social media, whatever. I got none of that. And I'm talking about, and he was obviously not the most high-profile person. Of course, you remember when I went and got Maurice Hill from that police barricade standoff for 8 hours. This is what I do.
So he's been in with a lot of high profile stuff, So if anybody that can handle high profile stuff is somebody that's dealt with high profile stuff before. So, it seems like the family's upset because, they probably looked up to him, and now he's going to be defending the person that took their beautiful daughter away from them. And that's very emotional. And I get that. But trust me, I know the family hates this right now, but this really is. And they probably don't want to hear somebody telling them what they need to hear and what they, I get that. I get that. But really, in the grand scheme of things, if he's a good attorney, if he's the best defense attorney, they truly, especially with this guy, they truly want this defense counsel. This is going to limit so many future appeals. I think this is, they're probably just not playing the tape through. They're just probably hurt. And we can all understand that.
And
how long have you been doing this?
Almost 20 years.
So is this the first time then that you've seen? Because there's a petition that's also been put out that has about 2,000 signatures of people asking for you to withdraw.
Oh, I'm sure it has something to do with that.
Keon King. Here is the about 2,500 petition. People have been posting. Have you ever had reaction like this from the community for representing someone or different?
No, I never. And quite frankly, I'm not sure if it's the clickbait. I'm not sure why this particular case, why this one case.
And how do we know that the family is pushing this versus just somebody saying that they represent? We know how trolling is, and it might be very much a click and view thing. This, I don't know who set up this petition. I don't know if it was the family. If somebody does, please send me an email. I would like to know. But I think what we may actually find out is that this wasn't even set up or, authored or approved by the family. The family has made a statement. And their statement basically is, this is our last statement. And we're going to get to that next.
Because you cover news, you cover violent crimes, you know there are people getting killed on a daily basis in this community. Now, I'm not talking about worldwide. In our city of Philadelphia, there are men and women and boys and
Yep, I
girls
can agree with
murdered daily. They all have lawyers.
Sad.
So I'm not sure why this particular case.
Maybe it's all because everybody involved in the case is black.
This is going to be interesting what he says. I want you guys to listen to it, because if any white person said this, they would be ready to take off your head. I'm sorry. It's true, because nobody likes to hear it. But listen, he's going to blow your mind.
Well, we're in Philadelphia. Out of the 1.6 million people
Listen.
in this town, most of the crimes in that criminal justice center are perpetrated against black people by black people.
Well,
Boom. Okay. I mean, when you have, and this is what I have a problem with, when you have just like when you have a predominantly white community, your crime is predominantly white on white. When you have a predominantly Hispanic community, your makeup is going to be majority Hispanic on Hispanic crime. When you have a predominantly black community, it's going to be predominantly black on black crime, okay? And predominant communities mean that you're going to have probably more black judges, more black attorneys, more black victims, more black perpetrators, okay? It's the demographics, okay? It's not racism. I just, want to point that out. Just want to point that out.
And we should mention that was brought up in the petition. If you look at what's on the website, it says, as a respected black attorney, Shaka Johnson's involvement in this case sends a chilling message to the black community that even those who claim to fight for justice are willing to defend known abusers, even those responsible for harming and killing black women.
Yeah, that's.
Everybody deserves to be properly, if you believe in the justice system, then you believe that everybody deserves to have their day in court. I believe in the justice system, folks. And therefore, I believe that everybody has a due process and a right to a fair trial and a proper defense. If somebody was accusing me of murder, I would want those things for me. Okay? So if I would want those things for me, I'm going to want those things for everybody, right? If I was accused of these crimes, what would I want? Now, what would make that be any different for anybody else? You guys know me. I'm pretty fair. If I want something for me, I'd want something for you. If I don't want something for me, like I don't feel like living next to a homicidal person that should be in jail, right? So I don't want you living next to a homicidal person that should be in jail. You see how that works? I do unto others as I wish was done unto me. And that's how I was raised. Guys, Kada's funeral is going to be taking place this Saturday, and it's going to be taking place at Mount Airy Church of God in Christ. And that's at 6401 Ogantz Avenue. I think I pronunciated that correctly. It's Ogontz Avenue. And the service will begin at 10 a.m. I expect this to be a huge service. It is open to the public. If you are going to be attending, I would recommend you getting there early and wearing comfortable shoes. I'm sure it's going to be very long, and it's going to take a long time to get everybody into the church to have the service. And thought it was very important that you guys knew about that. Now, the statement from the mother, or excuse me, the family rather, is very simple. So I'm just going to read what we have here. I don't know if you guys can see it. I've got it kind of up on the big screen. You should be able to read it if you turn your phone sideways or if you are on a TV. We, the parents of Kada Scott, first wish to extend our heartfelt appreciation to Mayor Sherelle Parker and the citizens of Philadelphia and countless supporters throughout the region for the overwhelming outpouring of love, compassion, and prayers shown to our family during this devastating time. Your support has given us strength as we continue to navigate the unimaginable loss of our daughter. We are truly humbled by the care and the concern that so many have expressed on behalf of our family. At this time, we want to make it known that this will be our final public statement until after our beloved daughter has been laid to rest. All questions regarding funeral arrangements may be directed to Meacham and Priolu Funeral. I'm sure I'm butchering that. We are deeply grateful for the cooperation, transparency, and commitment demonstrated by the District Attorney's Office, Larry Krasner, and the Philadelphia DA's office throughout this process. Please understand that any future information, clarifications, or concerns will come directly from us, her parents, or through our legal representatives. We will not be issuing statements through social media or external media outlets. Moving forward, all inquiries related to the criminal proceedings and victim services should be directed to the Philadelphia DA's office, as the DA's office is working diligently to seek justice on behalf of our family. All other legal related inquiries should be directed to the Maroon Law Firm in care of Attorney Joseph Maroon and Care Bradford Gray. We respectfully ask that the public and media continue to honor our privacy as we prepare to lay Kada to rest, while we focus on healing and honoring her life with dignity. The proud parents, with gratitude and continued faith, the parents of Kada Scott. So there's the statement from them. And we've been having this issue. So Kada Scott is really the symptom of a bigger problem. Kada Scott, obviously should be here. We keep seeing time and time again that certain district attorneys' offices or certain areas of our country seem to have a problem protecting citizens, cleaning up crime-ridden areas, doing what we think should be done, to clean up these areas. And we have cases like Ellen Greenberg and Kada Scott. Now, both of these girls are from Philadelphia. Both of these girls were failed in part by law enforcement as well as the district attorney's office, period. For Kada Scott was failed by the district attorney's office because they failed to be tough on crime in prosecuting Keon King before he killed this young lady. And then on the flip side, law enforcement did such a detrimental disservice to Ellen Greenberg's family by not properly investigating, maintaining a crime scene to keep it uncontaminated, and actually properly collecting evidence in her case has prevented that case from moving forward and ultimately Sam Goldberg being arrested for her homicide. No matter how you look at both of these cases, law enforcement failed. Kada, they failed because they didn't take this case seriously at the beginning, and a lot of lost days and time trying to find her. And in the case of Ellen Greenberg, again, they didn't take the case seriously at the beginning, therefore failing to collect proper evidence. So we have two cases directly from the Philadelphia area, directly under the direction of Larry Krasner, the DA there. And Larry Krasner is coming up for election. And there's this guy by the name of Pat Dugan, and he has been publicly criticizing the horrible work and resume of Larry Krasner. Now, if you guys remember the last press conference on Kada, Larry Krasner walked off because people started challenging his work ethic and started challenging his numbers. And who is really the responsible party for all of these mishaps coming out of their office? In one sense, he's standing up there saying, the buck stops here. I want to take responsibility and accountability. And when people try to, direct some of that accountability, he wants to run off and run away and shut the press conference down. I found it very unprofessional, to say the least. Very, very, very unprofessional. But Pat Dugan, now he is running, and I think he has a right to politicize these two cases. He is politicizing Kada Scott in an attempt to disqualify Larry Krasner, but he's also giving people some hope by saying, "Hey, if you vote for me and I win the DA election, I'm going to open up an investigative committee, body, to investigate Ellen Greenberg, since my counterpart, Larry Krasner, refuses to do it." And so now we really have an election going on in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, over the DA. And quite frankly, I think for the sake of the people there, Kada Scott's case, as well as Ellen Greenberg, this community needs this Pat Dugan. I don't know if he's a Republican or Democrat. I don't care. At this point, I know that he is saying that if he is elected, he is going to open up a committee to investigate Ellen Greenberg. We are the true crime genre here on these streets, but multiple streets. We're all over social media. That's one thing I can honestly say. We may not have the, million people subscribers, but we have a good following on just about every single platform. And my counterparts can't all say that. They're either really strong on YouTube or really strong on this platform or really strong on that platform, but not really strong on a variety of platforms. We're very strong in Facebook. We're very strong on X. We're very strong on TikTok. We're very strong on YouTube, right? And I got to tell you, this whole social media stuff, we're seeing the results of poor policing. We're seeing the results of not financing this stuff. And we have an opportunity to get Pat Dugan into office that will absolutely fight for these two cases. And with us being in the true crime genre, I think we need to support that, because Larry Krasner's running from the podium, right? And Pat Dugan is saying, look, we know something's hinky with Ellen Greenberg. We know that there's no possibility. And guys, I promised you that when we came here this afternoon, I would give you my assessment on what I think happened and why I believe Sam Goldberg is the responsible party and why there was no defensive marks on her. Are you guys ready? Are you guys ready? Let me move this over here. This up. There we go. There we go. There we go. I think I figured out what truly happened inside that apartment. So there's been some difficulties between her and Sam. She, for whatever reason, I think she was being abused and not telling anybody. Okay? Oh, thank you. Thank you, Brenda. I appreciate that. I'll have to read some cards for you. I don't know. Let me know what kind of cards you want, and I'll read some cards for you. We got the affirmation deck. Which one did we call that? Oh, all the above. We got inner peace, encouragement, and badass. So let me know what you want to do, and I'll read those in just a little bit. Somebody may have to remind me. Sorry. So I finally figured out what happened. At least what makes sense in my mind. Okay, and this explains everything. This explains the entire autopsy report, even the severed spine. So what I think happened is her and Sam got into a fight. They got into a fight. Now, from our age, which they're in my era, Sam as well as Ellen Greenberg are in my upbringing, we had to break into houses. We also had to lock houses without keys. So this idea that he does not know how to set a lock from the outside of the door, I call bullshit. I know how to set a lock on the outside of the door. Why? Because when we were younger, we didn't have push locks. We didn't have buttons to open locks. When we didn't have our key, we had to get resourceful. And believe it or not, there's been many times that we've left the house without the key and still had to lock our house up. Just to throw that out there. Now, do I know whether he did that or not? I don't. But I believe he did. And I believe he knew and had the ability to do it because our generation knew how to do that. Period. So what I think happened is they've been fighting back and forth. She was not happy with her job, and I don't think she was happy. I just think she was under a lot of stress. She was trying to get married. I think this guy was abusing her. I didn't think, and she was always talking so highly. She never wanted anybody to know about it. So she kept that quiet. So anytime anybody asked about her, she threw a smile on her face and talked highly of her man. I think she was over there. If you guys remember anything about the photos, there was a lot of fruits and vegetables out on that counter. Okay. To me, it looks like she was preparing some type of fruit. Okay. So that means her back would have been behind. If they were fighting, her back would have been behind him or, toward him. I think what happened and why we see no defensive wounds on her at all is because he attacked her from the backside. He attacked her from the backside and he severed her spinal cord and she could not move. That's why there's no defensive marks on her. And then when she fell to the ground, he either rolled her over or she fell. She slumped that way and he was still angry and continued to stab her. That's what I think happened. That would explain why there was no defensive marks on her hands. She couldn't move them. She was alive, taking every single one of those blows, and she couldn't even move. And all she could do was just look in horror until she lost the rest of her blood. I truly believe that's what happened. I truly, truly, truly believe that's what happened. So tomorrow we're going to be going over this Nancy Grace video. It's about 43 minutes. We're going to go over, I think, the first 15 minutes of this video. So I'm going to drop this down because this is the one that we're going to go over tomorrow. We're going to be doing this tomorrow afternoon on this channel. So if you guys are new to this channel, sub up and go ahead. We're going to be probably designating the entire channel unless we have some, updated stuff. We're going to be tomorrow afternoon this time. We're going to be designated the entire channel to Ellen Greenberg, to this Nancy Grace segment. So, and we're not going to watch the whole thing, but I want you to be up to date on the whole thing because you're going to still need the information that is brought from the whole entire show, but we're just going to focus on the first 15 minutes of the show. So that's kind of where we are. I definitely want to see Krasner out. Okay, I was really hopeful for him. I was really thankful when he came out and was taking responsibility. You guys know, I told you guys, we don't ever get anybody that takes responsibility like this, and we have to appreciate that. The problem is he's saying he's taking responsibility, but he's not really. Because responsibility would have been staying at that podium and answering the questions. He wouldn't do it because he knew this is an election cycle. He only wants the clickbait for his election campaign to say he's taking responsibility, but he's not doing anything. He has been in there at least 2 terms. 2 terms. And look at this nonsense. Since he's been in charge of the DA's office, we've got Kada Scott, Keon King, and Ellen Greenberg, okay? Now, granted, Ellen Greenberg was probably before his time, it isn't before his time now. He should have made sure that there was a committee and a somebody to go over this case with a fine-tooth comb. He chose not to do it, just like he chose not to stay at that podium when he was getting hit with hard questions. He doesn't like answering the tough questions. And if he's not willing to answer the tough questions, how can we trust him to run the DA's office in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania? We need to get smarter. We finally got a president that wants to end crime. Did you hear me? We finally have a president that truly wants to end crime. He wants to end it, eradicate it, make sure it's out of the ghettos, make sure it's out of everywhere. He's sick of the drugs, the violence, the jackings, the murders, the homicides, the rapes. He's tired of it all. He wants it all done. I think we can get there. I truly believe that we can get there as a country where we can literally walk down the road half naked if we want to and not worry about a thing. I believe we will get there, but we need everybody to step up to the plate and get right with voting. Who is talking about being tough on crime? Go with them. If you've been voting the same exact way for 40 years and it's done nothing for you, maybe it's time to vote different. Just saying. Just saying. If you have been voting the same way and it has not helped you, not one scintilla, maybe it's time to vote a different way. Just saying. All right, guys, rock it out with your coffee beans out. Don't forget to be fearless. If you see something, say something. An ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. And until next time, please be safe. But more importantly, kind to one another. We went over Jennifer Kesse. She's coming out of the cold case file. She's going to be active. She's heating up. She's hot. She's a hot tamale. We had Mimi, some more information on that. I will find the body cam footage so we can see the whole thing. Kada Scott, she's being laid to rest this Sunday. And then the family has given a statement that they're not going to be talking to anybody until after they lay their daughter to rest, and just put our hands and prayers on this family. And then, of course, the fight. We are joining the fight with Ellen Greenberg's family and parents in saying that we need change here. We're going to help this family try to get new blood in the DA's office so they can get true justice for their daughter. If you are in Pennsylvania, in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, please, I beg of you, vote however you want, but the DA, let's vote in Pat Dugan. It sounds like he wants to do right by the people. I mean, let's give him an opportunity. It sounds like Larry Krasner has had 2 terms to try to get it right and still keeps getting it wrong. Let's put somebody else in that office, in that position, and see if they can do a little bit better. I mean, if they can help Ellen's family, then we did our job, right? If they can get justice for the Greenberg family, folks, then we did our job out there in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. And we need to help this community. And sometimes helping the community is lightly guiding them to maybe the right decision. So, folks, in Pennsylvania, we need your help. We still have a family that's begging you guys to do the right thing so they can get justice for their child. They've gone years and years and years without justice, and it's clear on its face that Ellen Greenberg did not commit suicide. She just didn't. I don't believe she did. I don't believe she did. If you do, please tell me why. You can send that to bullhornbetty@gmail.com, bullhornbetty@gmail.com. Don't forget, tomorrow we'll be going over the Nancy Grace show related to Ellen Greenberg. I dropped the link in the chat. Grab that. Watch it. We will be back here tomorrow to discuss it. All right, guys. Have a great day. We'll see you this evening, right? We're already on 2:30, so I'm thinking around 7:30. Maybe later I'll be back on to talk about some other stuff. We're going to be in office 2, so I'm not going to be presenting anything. We're just going to have some discussions, and that's going to be kind of the rest of the day. So you guys have an amazing day. We'll talk to you soon. God bless.